くりレ夢ムです。
ゆっくりマリサだぜ。
Hi, Raimo. Hi, Marissa. Hey guys. The agency that watches everyone, including you, if you apply.
ゆっくりしていってね。
Section 1. Hook. There is a building on the south bank of the River Thames in London, tall, pale stone, slightly fortress-like. You can see it from the river, from the bridges, from the tour boats that pass it every day. And if you look it up, you'll find the address. You'll find the name of the agency inside. You can even apply for a job there, online, like any other employer. But here is what makes this place different from every other office building in Britain. The people inside spend their careers watching other people, tracking threats, monitoring communications, running informants inside criminal and terrorist networks, protecting the country from dangers that most citizens will never know existed. This is MI5, Britain's domestic intelligence service, the agency responsible for keeping the United Kingdom safe from terrorism, espionage, and organized threats to national security. And every year, they hire new people. The question is, how do you get in? What are they actually testing for? And what happens to the people who almost make it, but don't? The answers are stranger and more revealing than you might expect at Section 2. The story begins that let's start by making something clear. Because a lot of people confuse these agencies, and the confusion matters for this story. MI5 and MI6 are not the same thing. MI6, which we covered in our last investigation, is the secret intelligence service. It operates overseas. Its officers go out into the world, recruit foreign sources, gather intelligence from other countries. It's outward-facing. MI5 is the security service. It's inward-facing. Think of it this way. MI6 finds out what foreign governments are planning. MI5 catches the people those governments send, different missions, different cultures, different kinds of people, and critically, a different hiring process. MI5 was formally established in 1909, the same year as MI6. For most of the 20th century, like its sister agency, it operated in almost total secrecy. The British government didn't officially acknowledge its existence in any meaningful legal sense until the Security Service Act of 1989. Before that, MI5 was a ghost, an open secret that nobody officially confirmed, and for decades, its hiring reflected that secrecy. You didn't find MI5 through a job board. MI5 found you through networks, through referrals, through careful, quiet approaches to people who seemed promising and trustworthy. But then something happened that forced MI5 to change. Several things, actually. The end of the Cold War shifted the threat landscape entirely. The IRA. Then, after 2001, international terrorism became the dominant mission almost overnight. The agency needed to grow fast. It needed people with new skills, language skills, cultural knowledge, technical expertise, analytical ability. The old network couldn't supply all of that quickly enough as MI5 opened up. Cautiously, methodically, but genuinely. A public website, intelligence officer, technical roles, analytical positions, corporate support. You fill in an application, upload a CV, answer some questions about your background and motivations, and then, immediately, you encounter the first unusual instruction, like MI6. MI5 asks you not to discuss your application. Not with friends, not on social media, not anywhere that could be traced. But MI5 goes slightly further than MI6 in its public language about this. The website is explicit. Discussing your application with unauthorized people is grounds for immediate disqualification. Not discouragement. Disqualification. Day 1. The test has already started. The processing time for applications can be long. Months. Sometimes approaching a year, depending on the role and the volume of applications. During that entire period, you're in limbo, unable to talk about it, unable to know where you stand, uncertain when or whether anything will happen. This extended ambiguity is, many believe, entirely intentional. Phase 2. Online assessments. Pass the initial screen, and you receive an invitation to complete online tests. Verbal reasoning, numerical reasoning, abstract pattern recognition. These are measuring cognitive ability straightforwardly. MI5 needs people who can analyze large volumes of complex, often contradictory information and draw accurate conclusions under time pressure. That requires genuine intellectual horsepower. The tests are designed to find it, but there's a behavioral layer underneath the cognitive one. Former applicants, those who have spoken carefully and publicly, describe a situational judgment component that feels distinctly different from anything in standard corporate recruitment. The scenarios are deliberately uncomfortable. They present situations where the ethical path and the professionally advantageous path are not the same, where loyalty to a colleague conflicts with duty to the organization, where following the rules strictly produces a worse outcome than bending them slightly, that there's no answer key. No right answer telegraphed by the phrasing. What MI5 appears to be measuring is something harder to name: the quality of your ethical reasoning. Not just what you decide, but how you think about the decision. Whether your thinking is coherent, principled, aware of competing values, and honest about the trade-offs. Then things became genuinely strange. Phase 3, the SIFT interview. Pass the online tests and you're invited to a SIFT interview. This is an initial conversation, sometimes conducted remotely, with a member of the recruitment team. Applicants describe an interview that opens normally. Your background, your reasons for applying, your understanding of what MI5 does, but it shifts. Quickly, the interviewer begins asking about specific situations. Not hypothetical situations, real ones. Things you've actually experienced. Tell me about a time when you had to challenge a decision made by someone in authority. Describe a situation where you had access to sensitive information. How did you handle it? Give me an example of when you had to change your opinion because of new evidence. These are behavioral interview questions. The technique, called STAR interviewing, for situation, task, action, result, is used in many organizations. But the MI5 version has a quality that former applicants consistently describe the same way. The interviewer seems to already know something. They probe follow-up questions that feel too specific to be random. A full-day evaluation at an undisclosed location, or, in some cases, conducted virtually under carefully controlled conditions. What happens inside MI5's assessment center is less publicly documented than almost any comparable hiring process. What we can piece together from public statements, former employee accounts, and the MI5 website itself. There are written exercises, group exercises, individual exercises, further interviews, and psychological assessment. The group exercises are particularly revealing in terms of what MI5 appears to value. Multiple accounts describe exercises where the group is given a problem, incomplete information, a time limit, and no designated leader. And what assessors watch for is not who takes charge, not who performs most confidently, not who generates the most ideas. They watch for who listens, who synthesizes, who asks the question nobody else thought to ask, who notices when the group is going in the wrong direction and corrects it without creating conflict. There's a hidden truth buried in this design. The qualities MI5 values: discretion, analytical precision, collaborative effectiveness, the ability to influence without dominating, are almost the opposite of the qualities that make someone stand out in most competitive environments. The loudest, most confident, most immediately impressive candidate is often not the one MI5 wants. That's a genuine contradiction. And investigators who study intelligence hiring have written about it for years. Phase 5, developed vetting. Receive a conditional offer and the final phase begins. The most thorough security clearance in the British government. Developed vetting. The scope is extraordinary. 10 years of personal history, verified independently. Every address, every employer, every foreign trip. Financial history, not just debts, but patterns of spending, unusual transactions, anything that might indicate vulnerability to bribery or coercion. and then the interviews. Not just with you, with the people from your past, former colleagues, former neighbors, former flatmates, people you dated years ago, a friend from university you haven't seen in a decade. Investigators contact people you didn't list as references, people you may have forgotten about, and they ask open-ended questions designed to elicit honest impressions rather than rehearsed endorsements. How would you describe their relationship with rules? Were there ever situations where their judgment concerned you? Did they ever seem under unusual financial or personal stress? You don't know who's being contacted. You don't know what they're saying. You have no ability to manage or shape those conversations. Your actual life, as witnessed by the people who lived alongside it, is the evidence that Section 4, Theories. Now we reach the part of the investigation where experts disagree. Because despite everything we know about the MI5 process, there are serious, unresolved questions about what it's actually finding, and whether any process can find it. Theory 1. MI5 has cracked the problem of hiring for integrity. This is the optimistic reading of the evidence. The argument is that MI5, having learned hard lessons from decades of internal failures and near misses, has built a system that is genuinely better than almost anything else at identifying people whose character holds up under sustained real-world pressure. The secrecy requirement filters for discretion from the first moment. The ambiguous ethical scenarios distinguish principled reasoning from rule following. The group exercises identify collaborative intelligence over performative confidence. The vetting investigates the actual historical record rather than a curated self-presentation. Each phase, in this reading, targets a specific trait that matters for intelligence work and that is genuinely difficult to fake across the entire length of the process. The strength. This is internally consistent. If you designed a process from scratch to find the qualities MI5 actually needs, it would look something like what they've built. The weakness. Integrity is not static. People who have genuinely strong values at 28 can be compromised at 45 by financial pressure, relationship breakdown, political radicalization, or simple exhaustion. No hiring process evaluates who someone will become, only who they are right now. Theory 2. The real selection is happening before the process, and who chooses to apply. This theory is more subtle. It says the most important filter in MI5's hiring is not the assessment center or the vetting. It's the self-selection of who applies in the first place. The job is genuinely demanding. The secrecy is genuinely isolating. You can't tell people what you do. You work on cases involving terrorism, child exploitation, foreign espionage, things that are psychologically heavy in ways that are hard to fully prepare for. People who apply knowing all of this, who are drawn to the mission rather than the mystique, who understand the costs and want the job anyway. They are already a filtered group. The process then selects the best of that already filtered pool. This theory suggests the language on the MI5 website, the careful, honest description of what the work actually involves, is doing more recruiting work than it gets credit for. By being clear about the difficulty, MI5 discourages the wrong candidates before they even apply. The strength. This aligns with research on effective hiring in high-stakes fields. Realistic job previews consistently produce better outcomes than recruitment that oversells the role. The weakness. Not everyone who applies has done deep research. Many applicants are drawn by the brand, the glamour of intelligence work, and don't fully appreciate what they're signing up for. Self-selection alone isn't sufficient. Theory 3. The process has a fundamental blind spot, and MI5 knows it, the most sobering theory. And it's grounded in a specific, disturbing piece of history. In the 1980s, a senior MI5 officer named Michael Bettany attempted to pass classified documents to the Soviet KGB. He was caught, not by MI5's internal systems, but because a Soviet intelligence officer who received his approach reported it to Western services. Bettany had passed all vetting. He had worked inside MI5 for years. He showed signs of instability, heavy drinking, erratic behavior, that colleagues noticed, but the institution's formal systems did not catch in time. This theory says, any process built to evaluate people at a single point in time has a fundamental limitation. People change. Circumstances change. Pressures that didn't exist during vetting emerge later. MI5 knows this, which is why ongoing monitoring of officers' behavior, financial situations, and conduct continues throughout a career. Vetting isn't a one-time event. It's repeated, updated, refreshed, but the gap between evaluations is still years. And a lot can happen in years. Section 5. The most likely answer: here's what the evidence actually shows when you put it all together. MI5's hiring process is not trying to find perfect people. It has long since abandoned that aspiration, if it ever genuinely held it. What the process is trying to do is something more achievable and more specific. Find people whose values, judgment, and psychological stability are robust enough to be trusted with serious power, and then build a system around them that provides ongoing accountability rather than assuming initial trust is permanent. That's a more honest framework than most organizations operate with. And it explains several things about the process that otherwise seem puzzling. IT explains why the scenarios test ethical reasoning rather than ethical conclusions. MI5 isn't looking for people who give the right answer. It's looking for people who think about ethical questions in a way that will hold up across 20 years and thousands of different situations they can't predict in advance. IT explains why the vetting is so extensive and why it goes through people you didn't nominate. MI5 isn't trying to catch you in a lie. It's trying to build an independent picture of your character. The more independent that picture is from your own self-presentation, the more reliable it is, and it explains why the process takes so long. Fast hiring processes optimize for efficiency. MI5's process optimizes for something else: the opportunity to observe behavior over time, under varying conditions, in the extended uncertainty of the application period itself. How you handle 12 months of not knowing? That's information. The hidden truth of the MI5 hiring process is that it treats the process itself as an intelligence-gathering operation. The applicant is, from the moment they submit their form, being observed. Not in a surveillance sense, but in the sense that everything they do and don't do is evidence about who they are. And the most important question the process is trying to answer is not, can this person do the job? It's, will this person still be trustworthy in 20 years? Nobody can answer that with certainty. MI5 can't. No one can. But the process is the best attempt anyone has built to get close. Section 6. Conclusion. Here's the detail I keep coming back to. MI5's official website has a section that describes the kind of person they're looking for. And it's striking for what it doesn't say. IT doesn't say they want the most brilliant. It doesn't say they want the toughest. It doesn't say they want people with the most impressive credentials or the most exotic life experiences. IT says they want people who are curious, collaborative, resilient, committed to something larger than themselves. For a spy agency, an institution built on secrets and surveillance and the hidden architecture of national security, the public face of the hiring process emphasizes curiosity and collaboration. That's either a very deliberate piece of public messaging, designed to attract a specific kind of applicant, or it's a genuine statement of institutional values. Or both. What's interesting is that the process, as far as we can reconstruct it, actually tests for exactly those things. The group exercises that reward listening over dominating. The scenarios that reward principled reasoning over rule following. The vetting that investigates relationships, the most collaborative, interpersonal dimension of a person's life, rather than just credentials and history. The documentary case for what MI5 is actually doing is more consistent than it might first appear. There's one last thing worth noting. MI5 has published, in recent years, diversity statistics and recruiting goals. Not because they were forced to, but because they concluded, after careful analysis, that a more diverse workforce produces better intelligence, not as a political statement. As an operational conclusion, a team of analysts who all went to the same universities, grew up in the same communities, share the same cultural assumptions, has systematic blind spots. It asks the same questions, notices the same things, misses the same things. A team with genuinely different backgrounds, life experiences, and ways of thinking about problems catches more, sees more, gets closer to the truth. For an agency whose entire mission is to understand threats that are trying very hard not to be understood, that's not a nice to have, it's the job. And so the final question this investigation leaves open is not about the hiring process itself, it's about what MI5 is doing with the people it hires. Because the hardest part of intelligence work isn't getting in, it's what you become. Slowly, over years, when your job requires you to deceive people, monitor people, spend your career in a world most people don't know exists. MI5 selects for psychological resilience. It selects for stable values. It selects for collaborative people who can handle ambiguity. But does the work change you? Does the institution reshape the person it hired? And if it does, is the person who walks out of Tim's house after 20 years still the person the vetting process said could be trusted? Nobody outside those walls knows for certain. And maybe that's the deepest mystery of all.